Hello, everyone. My name is Georgina Pazcoguin, and I'm the co-founder for Final Bow for Yellowface. Welcome to another What's the Tea chat, a daily conversation with a dancer of Asian descent during the month of May to celebrate Asian Pacific Heritage Month. And we want to highlight the achievements and experiences of Asians in dance. And today I'm really excited to be chatting with Ayano Kimura, who is a dancer with the Washington Ballet. And Ayana, thank you so much for being here. Can you talk about, first and foremost, we are hoping that people will donate some change, some monies to a charity of your choice. So I'm going to give you the platform and welcome you and let you, first right off the bat, talk about that.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you for having me in this, beautiful project. I would love to be involved. And now, obviously, in those circumstances, we are canceling all these performance, and we are not being able to be in the studio and practice. So the company offering right now the virtual class where you can find on our website, and it's just easy. It will just tells you what to do. You basically just click and I think it's a Zoom class or where you can donate. So I think that's the way you can donate, and hopefully, see some of the people taking class with us.
Yeah, thank you for that. Which brings me to my first question. Let's just jump in. This is all brand new circumstance for everyone, the world, but specifically, and like that goes without saying, like of course, like we are concerned about our frontline workers, but just personally speaking, in your life, what are you missing right now, and was there anything that you were looking for? I'm unfamiliar with the Washington Ballet schedule, so were you slated to perform very soon, or did you already miss your season? Kind of give us an up-to-date of what you're missing and some of your favorite works that you were looking forward to.
Okay, well, this is something that I was, already expected since I have seen already what's happening in Asia, spreading the virus already. Nothing surprised me, but so we were working on our production of the Swan Lake, which we were supposed to perform last month. It's now that has postponed until May 2021. That's something excited, but that's choreographed by our director, Julie Kent. And we were in the middle of the process to put everything what we have so far together, but then it just got canceled. So that's what I'm missing, dancing or working with all these ballet plans. And of course, dancing in the big studio, it's just so important to me, like that. I'm still training myself and, try something that I can do in this tiny studio apartment. But of course, I hit my furniture and here and there, and I got the bruises. So that's something that I'm missing. And, of course, I miss my families, like seeing how I still talk to them like every day, but just not being able to see them in person is just something that I'm missing right now.
Yeah, I can absolutely resonate with all of that. Taking class in a kitchen is not conducive to any sort of flight. I can't wait to have the space to do like a Grand Allegro again, just for just the sheer elation of it. So I'm with you on that front. Tell me, what made you start your dance training?
So this was the age of 10. My mom took me to one of these ballet school performances in my city, and I got attracted by those one piece called Passion España. I think it's kind of Spanish, and those students wore all red tutu and having the red flowers on their head, and also the music and the choreographed was all just reminds me of flamenco. And I was just amazed by them. And after I went back home and I say, Mom, I think I want to do ballet. And so that's how I started. And that was when I was 10 years old. And of course, I was doing it as a hobby. So I wasn't sure if I was going to be a ballet dancer as in a job. And after a few years, I had a chance to compete to participate in the competition called YGP in New York. And that's where I got the scholarship from La Scala, the ballet school, for 2 years. So I've studied some other things in Italy. And after 2 years, I came back to Japan again, and I had another chance to compete the same, competition again. And that's where I got the scholarship from the Washington. So that's how I ended up being in here.
Wow. And then just to further elaborate upon that, like, was there a moment where you and your staff, I mean, you embark on this intense training to become a ballerina, and was there a particular instance, was it at one of the YGP performances that you were like, I know that I want this, but when did it click in that, like, oh, I can grab this, like this could be mine if I want it?
Right. So there's two moments, I would say. And the one moment is that, so after 2 years that I started doing ballet, of course, I only knew the little basic steps and I wasn't even on point. And, I didn't even know about any variations of music. And I had the chance to watch the Prix de Lausanne, the competition in Switzerland, on TV. Of course, I had no clue what it was, what it was, the variation. But then I was dancing with them, even though I didn't know any of the steps. And even the men's variation, I was just copying them and imitating them. I was just like dancing every single variation over again. And even, the competition was end. So my mom turned off the TV. I was still dancing, like kept dancing the same things again and again. So that was the moment that I probably, want to become a dancer, or this is going to be the end of the career. Like, this is what I work for. So that was the first moment. Then, of course, I had to study at the same time. And I was in the junior high school and high school. And in the middle of the high school, that's when I got the scholarship from La Scala. So that was the moment that I had to decide either, I want to be a dancer, or I still continue studying to become something different. Then I, chose to go to in Italy to learn some more about the ballet. So those two moments that just kind of made me feel like this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Right. Thank you for clarifying that, because it seemed like I always marvel at how the decision is made so young, and the commitment happens so young to enter this career. So thank you for articulating that. Can we talk about a little bit, for the viewers who may not know you, your ethnic and cultural heritage, and to what degree are you connected to it?
Yeah, so I grew up in Kyoto. That's the city where it used to be the capital of Japan. So I had a lot of chance and opportunity to visit those beautiful, historical building and look around. And I was more close to, getting to know about the traditional culture. And this is another sad thing, that I was supposed to have my wedding the end of this month, which it has, again, postponed to the next year. I don't know when that's going to happen. And so I was planning to do a Japanese style and American style, both. And, like the difference is what we wear. We wear the white kimono. We have like those big foot. That's the costume that we wear. And the Japanese wedding is, the matter between the families rather than individual. So the ceremony and the reception, it's conducted as under the family name. And, I think here having like a party, dancing party afterwards, but we don't have that in Japan. So when I suggest to one of my planner in Japan, if I could, put the dance floor and if I can, dance randomly with all those guests, she got a little confused. And she was like, what is that? I have no experience. having the bride and groom dancing in front of those guests, and how that's gonna end, how it's gonna end the ceremony and the reception. So I had to, explain to her, this is what we do in America. But then she was again, like, when in Japan, at the end, we all finish, and the groom and the brides and also the family stand out there to wait, those guests to come out and just say goodbye to each one of them and giving a little present. And that's how we end. And instead in here, just leave randomly whenever you want. And she was like, so I just don't know how that's going to go, but we'll see. So we'll see what happens, if we do next summer or whenever we have a wedding. So that was something that the cultural things that I was planning that happened.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much, the bridge between your like American culture and the Japanese culture. And I hope that you will update me. First of all, I'm so sorry that you and your fiance had to postpone your wedding. My sister also had to postpone her wedding, and that it's a devastating loss because it's something you're looking forward to.
It is.
And I really hope that you're able to reorganize, and I think things do happen for a reason. So if anything, your wedding planner has more time to figure out the right dance floor.
Yeah, basically, I was just so sad for the moment, and I start thinking like, well, this is, which means that I have more time to prepare and, more time to walk out and walk on my abs and etc. to just like fit the dress perfectly. So it's nothing about like, getting negative. And, those times that put a lot of effort and, financially, it's just something that is not coming back to me. But that's something that I can add it to, the next plan. So it's always positive.
Yeah. And at the heart of it, it's a celebration of love, and love doesn't have an expiration date. So that's, I'm so happy that you have the right headspace for that. So you've talked about how your cultural heritage is informed like this wonderful event in your life. Has it also informed your work as a dance artist?
So there's two traditional culture that I got inspired, and also I always want to apply to my work as a dancer. And the one is Geiko. I think it's known as an geisha probably on the movies or in the world. And there's women that perform a Japanese music and a Japanese dance mostly at the party in front of those people, having the dinner. And their movement, it's really small because they wear the kimono, which has like a limit to, limit of the movement. But those tiny movement that it's just so elegant and beautiful, and it's so, delicate and detailed that I always look at too. And another one is, it calls no. It spells N-O-H. If you can look at that, that's another traditional culture. The mostly man does. And there's the one movement that they slide a foot and basically walking and crossing the stage, but without moving the upper body. So basically, it just only the foot is moving, and it just looks easy and it looks like nothing happening, but it's actually hard to make it look like nothing happens, And they just practice that every day, like maybe 10 hours, over and over again, like how we take class every day and rehearse every day. And by seeing that, it's just the walking, but those details and then those process or the movement, there's something that I also can apply to what I dance as a dancer.
Right. I see that like the specificity of that dance training can be directly applied to our art form of ballet as well. And so that's wonderful. And I can't wait to look it up myself. I might have to message you and have you send me some links so I can learn too. Okay, so this brings me to my next question. Like, what do you think the ballet world is, or how do you think rather the ballet world is doing in terms of race and representation?
So I think in, the ballet world, it's not maybe the ballet world, it's like any kind of dance world is developing, and it's more becoming the place where you can be yourself. And if I look back to when I was in Italy, so after I graduated, well, that was like before I graduated, I did a lot of audition in Europe and several company, as the most of the company allowed only, the people are EU citizens or already having the visa. So my big issue was just the visa problem. Also, I wasn't probably good enough, to be a professional dancer. But that just made me feel like, okay, I should not be doing this, or ballet is not for, people like me. And so that's why I came back to Japan and tried another competition. And I had a great chance to, come here. Um, but after 15 years, now it's maybe like almost 15 or 16 years, I see all those like many beautiful, Asian ballet dancer dancing everywhere in all, like, all over the world, doing the principal and soloist. And I think that just made me feel that, the ballet is just somewhere that, not judging by the race or looking at the people, where you're from. It's more like, being who you are. And I think that's just changing, right now. It's more becoming familiar to us.
Right. Well, first of all, I admire your tenacity and your commitment to finding the right place for you. I mean, you bring up such an interesting point that being a foreigner, not only in, but like there's passports, there are things involved that like that's also a hindrance in a world where you hear a lot of no's, and it's a lot of decisions are not up to you. You can't change where you're born in the documentation process.
Right.
So thank you for bringing that up. That is something we have not touched upon, and I think that's a great point. Have you personally had any experiences? I mean, Phil and I, we advocate against stopping the use of Yellowface, in ballet specifically, but across all media forms. And have had any experiences with Yellowface that you'd feel comfortable sharing? It's totally fine if nothing comes to mind at first. Like, this isn't a pop quiz or anything.
Right. The Not particularly, but if I said, when I was in Japan, every time I got on stage and I perform something or I participate in the competition, we all have to paint our skin to the white color. And I understood those time, like ballet has actually started in Italy, back in like 15th century, and it went to France and, become more popular and big in Russia. So all those countries, the people that had started and it has more history. So I understood like why I had to do that. But since I came here, it's just more freedom. And as I said, this is becoming more, popular and familiar, and where I can just be myself and I can just be who I am. So it's not a problem right now, but that's just, I was just wondering back in the day why I had to do it.
Yeah, you're bringing up so much that I've also experienced. Like, I've seen dancers take, the makeup and paint their skin, and it's mostly just to match their face, which is generally lighter. But like for me, like the makeup that I was given when I was an apprentice was like an alabaster white tone, which does not match. And
Right.
so when you go on stage and you have like a different color skin tone, it really makes you feel weird and not like yourself. So I was actually painting myself to be a different color for a while, and I stopped that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I am so happy that you've had that weird, uncomfortable experience too. I've never been able to talk to someone about that, so thank you. And it's like I still feel weird when I'm in the dressing room and I see my coworkers like make themselves look look lighter. And I don't think I don't know where that tradition came from, and I'm going to do some more research on it, but it does, that's something that like I'm not able to do in a
Right.
sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, if there's 100 people, there are 100 thoughts and maybe 100 opinion. And so I'm not agree to or disagree to any of the opinion. But and also depends on like if the choreographer wants you to paint in a different color, you really have to follow that. You really have to do. But I just never. I mean, to me, to my opinion, you just like never feel comfortable, and I just don't know why it should be just change the color, why I cannot be just by myself and doing it on stage. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of role I do, I still be in the character, but at the same time, that's the beautiful place that I can, express myself and just show what I got. So, yeah.
Right. Well, thank you for that. Going back to, you mentioned that your mom took you to ballet class, and then she like, it seemed like your mom kind of keyed into this sort of dance bug that you had. How did your parents in general feel about you going into this professional creative career?
Right. So my parents, both mom and dad, has had the experience walking internationally. So they were walking in New York and Germany. So I'm sure that they want me to, walk internationally, nationally like them. It doesn't matter, the ballet dancer or some other work. So they were just more open mind. And it was mostly mom that she wanted to be a kind of dancer, and she always wanted to practice a dance, but maybe because like she couldn't afford, or there's some other reason that she couldn't do. So I think she was, putting her dream through me as well. She was more supportive, whatever I did, whatever I made a decision, she was like supporting mentally, financially. And I think she was the ones that kind of, encouraging me and putting me in this, to make me be a ballet dancer. And my dad is also supporting me in any kind of way. He was more quiet. He was just, understand everything what my mom said, and whatever she said or I said, she was always fine with me. And so they both were kind of like, happy with what I'm doing right now. And, at the end, it's just all my responsibility. And also, like, as long as I'm happy, they're happy.
Right. That's really wonderful to hear. It's really great to have supportive parents in an art form like ours that's not always so consistent.
Mm-hmm.
It's not guaranteed.
Right.
So it's nice to have that support, even if it's like gentle and silent. It doesn't have to be, in your face all the time, but just knowing that they are there really makes a difference. So what advice would you have for young dancers who are looking to get into this career today?
Right. So
With all the wisdom that you've experienced.
yeah. Well, especially just like, Japanese students that were looking for to be a ballet dancer. So being a professional dancer, and, it's not easy, and it's tough job. And I mean, of course, like any kind of job is tough, but mentally, physically it's tough. You just practice every day, wake up early in the morning and take class, 6-7 hours dancing every day. It's sometimes mentally hard. And even when you're sick or when you feel tired, you still have to present, and sometimes you have to perform on stage and make sure that you don't look like you're sick or you're sad. It's just really tough. And I'm sure sooner or later we all facing to the difficult situation or time, just like now that this is happening actually. And I hear a lot of voice that those kids are losing their motivation because of those performances and audition, and competition got canceled. But I think this is actually the good time to walk on those things that you cannot actually walk on in the studio, or maybe like, focus on more details that you have been working on. And so instead of like just getting negative, it just, stay positive and do what you can do at this point. And, if you keep making an effort, those would reward it to you like later on. But if you don't do anything right now, you don't move forward. And if you just try something, you will just come back even stronger than ever. So that's probably what I want to say. And also, my grandma used to tell me that, you have to walk 10 times more than the other people, like in order to get better and, better dancer than the others. And I was like, okay, I will try. But it didn't last long, of course. But then at the same time, I was wondering, why would I have to compare with the other people, like compete to the other people? This is just about the arts. It's not about like competing to each other. I mean, sometimes it's just good to, like motivate yourself. But at the end, it's just the performing arts. It's just like, this is where you can show your beauties and not about like competing. So that, I know that sometimes like people get disappointed or depressed. I mean, I got depressed just seeing all these beautiful dancers around me having the long leg, long arm, which I can do nothing with it. I was born just like this. But then I would think like, if there's another way to just improve myself or something that, can do better than the other people, I'll just, do what you want to do with the confidence and always just, keep moving forward and look forward and just be happy and do whatever makes you happy. That's what I would say.
That's beautiful. I mean, you keyed in on all the aspects of how like this job, we are put in direct competition, whether it be in a format like YAGP or in just a company setting. This right. Like, you want to keep the competition healthy and you don't want to make yourself be like anyone else. Like, you have to find your own parameter and you have to find the way to keep pushing yourself forward and do it for yourself and not for anyone else. So that's like a really wonderful advice. Flipping that question to the other side, talking about the audience now, what do you think is needed in like our world to build a more loyal and younger and inclusive audience for dance?
So as you know, the smartphone or social media or social network is a part of our life now. If you see, every single person having like those phone and looking at some things, and I think we can use that to spread the information or the attraction of the ballet. And if I walk outside, there's a lot of people like going into the studio, the ballet studio, or any kind of studio taking class, and that's from maybe 5 or 6 years old and till like I sometimes see 70 or 80 years old. They're taking class, so they really enjoy doing it, or like love dancing, or like love watching the ballet. So I just feel like we just have to continue what we are doing right now, and at the same time catching up with the new generations, and to have those people to feel more familiar with it. So I think that's mostly like what is needed.
Yeah, I think like finding a way to make ballet less of an elite art form and reminding people that it is for everyone, and there's no wrong way to appreciate or experience ballet. And so that's a great answer. And that kind of brings us to the end of this interview. I want to thank you, Ayano, so much for doing this. It is so wonderful to get to meet you here. Not only this, I look forward to seeing you dance.
Thank you.
And this has been a wonderful opportunity for not only Phil and I to highlight what you're doing, but also for me to get to see other people in my art form that share the same sort of struggles or stories. And I can't thank you enough for your generosity of spirit and taking this time to do this. For our followers, for our viewers, thank you for tuning in, and make sure to check out our Instagram page right now for the reveal of who's tomorrow. And tune in at noon. And thank you so much again.
Well, thank you for having me. It just was a pleasure to meet you and talk to you and share my thought. And, you know, I just can't wait to go back to the studio and meet all these beautiful people. And, you know, we are all in this together. So, and we are, you know, sharing this pain together. So at the end, when this craziness is over, we all going to come back stronger than ever. So I'm really looking forward to it.